The Midsummer Fire Festival has returned, or is returning, I should say. Will be back soon. June 21st, it'll kick off and go until July 5th. There's some new loot to be had. The same old titles, really good buffs to get for you if you haven't seen or participated in this before. So go ahead and jump straight into it. Oh my God, killer. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs, man. I appreciate that so much. So much. Thank you, man. Death Knight of our Scourge. And speaking of Death Knights, it's time to start looking like one with this badass freaking scythe. So there's some brand new stuff to get from this thing, some new Transmog to be had from the Fire Festival. If you haven't participated in it, I actually enjoy this thing. It's kind of fun. But we got 2 new scythes / staffs. So this thing will be both a polearm and a really cool looking staff if you want to use it as a staff or if you can't use a polearm. So there you go. You got a red and a blue version of these. You'll be purchasing these most likely with the Burning Blossom currency, which will be used during this event. Cam Shady coming in with the sub as well. Man, thank you so much for the subs, guys, kicking off that early morning hype train. We also have the Grand Fire Festival sets. So yeah, you want to look like a tiki torch or something that would kick off the Olympics or something. There you go. You can get those shoulders and that helm. They also pair really well with the belt previously used and the little shield there. So there you go. A really cool looking Fire Festival set that you'll be able to get along with those really nice looking weapons that I mentioned earlier. So the Fire Festival in general, as I mentioned, this thing will be kicking off on June 21st. You'll be able to participate in events to get buffs, transmogs, kill some bosses, do all kinds of stuff, okay? So, first things first, the new Midsummer Fire Festival will be happening in Kaz Algar as well, so you'll be able to participate in this thing via Kaz Algar. We know that previously these things have been available in multiple locations across Azeroth. The Kaz Algar locations are new, and you'll be able to either light or put out flames depending on Horde or Alliance, right? You can do the opposite to the opposing faction in some new Kaz Algar zones, giving you 2 new Kaz Algar achievements for doing so. If you don't know, there are little campsites to light or put out all over Azeroth. If you put out the opposing factions one, you can get yourself an achievement. If you light your own factions, you can get yourself an achievement as well. Amanda, thank you for the Prime sub as well. My God, so many subs today. Thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate it. So traveling from bonfire to bonfire, lighting them or extinguishing them, you will acquire burning blossoms, which is the currency for this event. You also get experience or gold and or achievements. Dance around the ribbon for all this for an experience buff. You can play the game in major cities for festival rewards, visit vendors, and spend your burning blossoms on toys, holiday transmogs, pets, heirloom items, and more. We're going to talk about the items you can get here. And then Horde players can obtain the title Flamekeeper, while Alliance players can obtain the title Flame Warden. Transmog collectors, we just talked about some of the new transmogs. There's also some tabards to be getting to get from this event. And then you can queue for the Frost Lord Ahun, which is a holiday boss where you can get some really cool gear from them each day you kill them for the first time. So the Midsummer Fire Festival bonfires, as I mentioned. These things, you can either light them or extinguish them, depending on the specific one is for your faction or not. Doing so will give you some really cool buffs. You can get yourself a title as well, a bunch of stuff. So here are the locations. They're all over Azeroth. There's Eastern Kingdom ones, Kalimdor ones, some Outland ones, specific ones. Some of these are basically neutral. Some of them are specific to the Horde or the Alliance. As I mentioned, you could run around and do all that. I'll link this in the chat and down below if you want these locations here. But some really cool stuff. Sam loves dancing around poles. Yeah, thank you, Moishi. Moving on to some other cool stuff about this thing. The buffs, right? There's some really good buffs to get from this event. Specifically, you can get yourself an experience buff if you want to do the little ribbon dance, as Moishi said, around the pole. You will get yourself 10% for 3 minutes, stacking 3 more minutes for every 3 seconds you dance around. So you can dance around this thing for a while here and get yourself a nice experience buff. 10% ain't that bad. The buff stacks up to 1 hour and also works with rested XP as well. So it stacks on top of that. So some really cool stuff to be had from this thing in terms of leveling. Damage buffs. If a player throws a Burning Blossom into the Festival Fire, all surrounding players will gain a Fire Festival Fury, or should I say Fury buff. This will get you 3% critical strike and reflecting fire damage to attackers for 1 hour. For 1 hour, this scales. I think this the reflecting fire damage only works in PvP scenarios, because this would be really good for like boss fights right now, because there are boss fights right now in the Undermine raid that do in fact cause fire damage. So you imagine this would be really cool if you could just reflect it back at the boss. I'm assuming that's how that works. It only works in PvP. As if that wasn't enough, it happens to be the Festival of the Flame, and that has been extinguished and no longer burns. Tossing burning blossoms into it will grant a zone-wide bonfire blessing. Targets gain 30% chance to inflict fire damage on melee, ranged, or spell attacks. So you get a chance to inflict some extra fire damage for the entire zone if somebody does this. For the boss, the Midsummer Fire Festival boss, we mentioned him. Ahun is his name. Killing him will give you a chance to get some really cool loot. He drops a satchel. Now, this only works, I believe, the first kill every day. Yeah, first time each day you only get a chance to get this thing. It drops a satchel, which will give you a bunch of transmog, as well as a really cool-looking mount transmog for your dragon mount back from Dragonflight. I'll show that in here in a second. Quests and dailies, a bunch of quests and dailies that you can do for the Alliance or the Horde. Basically putting out fires, adding fires, doing a bunch of stuff like that. Really, really cool stuff. You can also get yourself some interesting, titles and things. So doing the quest will give you a bunch of other things besides the fact that you get those titles, as I mentioned earlier, as well as some gold and other things. A few tabards as well to be had from some of these quests. The Frostfire Ahun one, you can get yourself the Tabard of the Summer Skies or Tabard of the Summer Flames. Midsummer Fire Festival Holiday collectible items. These are the pets. You get yourself the little red wisp. Always an interesting one, I thought, from this event. This one's been around forever. Also, the Blazing Cindercrawler Spider, the Igneous Flaming one. This one comes from the merchants. You can purchase with free at 350 of these Burning Blossoms, as well as the Blazing Crawler. The Frigid Frostling. This one is an Ice Trip rare drop from the Big Boss Boy. You can get this. And the Midsummer Fire Festival toys. This is one that a lot of people had here. 350 of the Fire Blossom currency for this one. Burning Defender's Medallion. This is a really cool looking toy. Transforms you into one of these guard boys. 500 for this. And the Cozy Bonfire. 350 for this. Drop yourself a little bonfire. 500 for this one. You set yourself on fire. There you go. Being able to sprint, so why not? Sam actually has a unique title. Master of the Carpet. There you go. Yeah. Fire Easter Hearthstone. So a little Hearthstone here. Cool. I think you toss around some torches or hold a torch or something when you do this one. 300 for this one. And then you could do a little ribbon dance here. 500 for this one. Festival Fire Batons. Light your hands on fire for 50 of these. And then a little fire dance. Your feet are hot for 100 here. The little crown, as we mentioned earlier. Yeah, make yourself look like, I don't know why you'd want to wear this helm, honestly, but 150 for this one. Make yourself look like a little tiki torch or something. All the transmog, kind of nice. Some of the stuff is really cool. The newer stuff, the frost sight's really, really cool. This is the little transmog I mentioned for your dragon. Yeah, you'd be able to customize your dragon, make him look like a fiery, flowery boy. And then the two titles, as I mentioned earlier, Flame Warden for the Alliance and Flame Keeper for the Horde. Besides that, just a bunch of little items and stuff to buy. Cool event, fun to participate in if you haven't done it before. Again, I'll link this article in the chat for anybody who needs it and for people down below. Last piece of news here I wanted to get into real quick. This is important. Remember the Lorewalker Cho thing that I got into last week, and I talked about how cool I think it's going to be to experience the lore through these Lorewalker Cho events, basically becoming Arthas Menethil or going through other things. Well, in a recent interview with game director Paul Cubitt, he confirmed that Blizzard is currently working on 38 separate stories for this experience. That's crazy. That's really, I'm very excited to play through some of these. I think this is a really cool way to tell the lore stories, a really cool way for people who are new to the game to get into the lore, and I hope they continue to do this, and obviously they are. 38 stories being added to the game is a big deal. We're currently getting 3 in 11.1.7. That's when this whole Lorewalker Cho thing kicks out. And then it looks like we're going to continue to get these throughout our future patches and expansions to come. That is all in terms of news.